Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Morno Reifenberg here. As usual, there are links in the description below to my web shop and to the article that leads to, link to the article that I am going to discuss, specifically referring to the topic that I'm going to discuss today, and that is the Greater Key of Solomon, the magical grimoire, the Greater Key of Solomon, specifically the Order of the Pentacles. Long story short, for people, this is for all people, even people that aren't familiar with this topic. The Greater Key of Solomon is a magical workbook, and the Order of the Pentacles is the edition that basically gives instructions for creating pentacles. They're like talismans, and these pentacles have certain specific effects, magically speaking. This is more for sorcerers, for basically existing magicians like myself. So you need to be familiar with the basics, but it's also going to be interesting for laymen, people that are completely oblivious to the occult and to magic and to Western ceremonial magic and whatnot. I'll just gonna give a quick example. Let's just say that magical workbook, for example, lists in general 7 pentacles. For some planets, it is 5, but in any case, it refers to the 7 classical planets. So the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and I don't think I missed anything now. That's it. Okay, so those classical 7, and each of those in general has 7 talismans, and those talismans have certain effects that go into effect themselves when you summon spirits that fall under that specific planet. I'm going to give you an example. The first pentacle of Mars, for example, the planet Mars. The first pentacle of Mars, the description is it's proper for invoking spirits of the nature of Mars, especially those which are written in the pentacle. That's true. These pentacles have specific figures and their names are written in Hebrew, either within the pentacle itself or around on the outer edges. On the outer edges specifically. That's just an example. Another example, the third pentacle of war of Mars. Okay, Mars has, for example, let's see, 7 pentacles. Like I just said, the third pentacle of Mars, the description is it is of great value for exciting war, wrath, discord, and hostility. Also for resisting enemies and striking terror into rebellious spirits. The names of God, the all-powerful, are therein expressly marked. And that is precisely it. And you go into further details, or specifically the grimoire goes into details and so on and so forth. This is to give you a general idea on what a pentacle is and whatnot. Interesting thing too, I'm going to start off right off the bat by saying that by listing certain tips. Okay, listen, you don't have to worry about what material these pentacles are made of. Okay, these pentacles also don't have to be in color and so on and so forth. It's all symbolic. Okay. A lot of let's just say traditional magicians will tell you that you have to do everything according to by the book, or everything down to the letter. For example, you have to create these pentacles according to the metal that corresponds to the planet that pentacle belongs to. For example, gold corresponds to the sun. And traditional magicians will tell you it doesn't just apply to this magical workbook. It doesn't just apply to the Order of the Pentacles. It also applies to the Goetia and whatnot. It's all nonsense, okay? It's not necessary. It would be nice if you were able to do so, but it's going to be way too expensive and it's going to take up way too many resources. In short, it is not necessary. Just because a pentacle is from the sun doesn't mean that you have to make it in gold and that pentacle has to be exactly perfect, imperfect. It has to be perfectly solar yellow or golden yellow and whatnot. None of that stuff is really necessary. I'm sorry. As usual, I'm distracted by spirits. It's okay. My patron is standing beside me along with my financial manager, just a bit up ahead, hence me looking there. In any case, these are my own pentacles. I'm going to show you them one by one. This is the first pentacle of the sun. As you can see, the Archangel Metatron's face is etched in the beginning, in the center, and the other things are written around at the outer edges or near the outer edges. I made this with all the other pentacles that I have. I made all of them with cardboard paper. I just went to a stationery store, an office store where they sell office supplies, and I made them. I simply fabricated these with. I made these by using hard paper, colored paper in the appropriate color. It's not too expensive. It barely cost me like what, $10 or something, $20. It's all about intent. My intent is clear when I made this. This is, for example, the first pentacle of Mercury. As you can see, the pentacle is in the middle with the Hebrew letters around it, exactly like the instruction states, or like the instruction state. This is the first pentacle of Venus. This is the first one of Saturn. It's very black, and because it's black, I basically, to make the thing is visible, to make those letters visible, and the square that you are supposed to draw in the middle. To make all of this visible, I just used a pencil. Okay, I didn't use anything else. It's not necessary because it's black. So even if you're going to do something in black, it's obviously not going to be visible. If you're going to draw you're going to draw on it with magic marker. I tried drawing on it in white by using correction fluid, but that proves to be way too ineffective and too impractical because correction fluid isn't easy. It's not easy to draw with correction fluid. I even tried a pen, a correction fluid bar that was in the shape of a pen, but to no avail. This is the first pentacle of the moon, and that is it pretty much. That first pentacle of Jupiter, I gave that to Satan. Well, not literally gave it to him, I just lent it to him. It's on Satan's altar right now. And in short, the reason that I have a bunch of first pentacles is because these all first pentacles, all first planetary pentacles, these pentacles are suited for, they greatly support invoking spirits that fall under certain planets. So if I were to summon a spirit from the moon, it doesn't matter what kind of spirit, as long as that spirit corresponds or falls under the moon, that I can use that planetary, I can use the first pentacle of the moon, and it will help it will ease the process, and that's how it works. It supports and it eases the process of summoning a spirit that falls under the moon significantly. It also has a great working if you work with a spirit by default, if you place it on that spirit's altar. On my patron, my beloved Lord Samael's altar, I have the first pentacle of Mars, and I have a couple of the Sun, because they also produce a great effect and they enhance my work with him. They provide him with a lot more energy and the means to carry out his work in accordance with our agreement, or to our agreement, a lot more effectively and a lot quicker. And that is it. You can see I already posted pictures on the article of my pentacles. These are just things that you need to keep in mind. You don't even have to do things colored. Again, intent is everything. That's what you need to remember, okay? Intent in magic overall is everything. When I made these pentacles, okay, before I went to it, I literally just divinated. I did my research and I wanted to know, I wanted confirmation. Will these pentacles have the desired effect? And my divinations and everything told me, astrology told me, tarot cards told me, yeah, you're good to go. They will have the desired effect with every pentacle that I've made up to this point. And that's when I got to work. Your intent is everything. You don't even have to draw them on cardboard paper or on correctly colored paper. It doesn't matter whether the sun would be blue or anything like that. If that's all that's available to you at that moment, then you can use that. You can even simply draw these pentacles in chalk, for example, if you wanted to have a certain pentacle effect on a certain spirit. You have an altar devoted to a spirit, and you wanted to have that pentacle, but you don't have any paper for some reason, nothing. Then all you can do is just draw with a pen on that spirit's altar and draw that specific pentacle. It will produce the same effect. Again, but you need to confirm this, and that's the whole part. It is possible that I'm wrong, but again, that's why you need to confirm. You need to have some kind of confirmation system that tells you whether or not it is going to be effective. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have nothing else, no other issues. Again, like I said, intent is everything, okay? It's not so much about the material that you use, it's about your intent, your intentions behind what it is that you're doing, the intent behind your actions. And I am doing the Pentacles are doing just fine. They do their job properly. Everything works just fine, and I'm noticing that in real time. I have no issues. That's literally just it. These Pentacles greatly enhance one's workings, and again, that is literally just it. I rarely use that Saturnian Pentacle because I rarely invoke spirits from Saturn. Most of the spirits that I deal with are either solar, Mercurial, lunar, Martian, and Jupiterian. I also rarely invoke spirits from Venus. Anea is practically the only one. Yeah. And let me see, that is it. I have nothing else. And like I just said, this doesn't just apply to those Pentacles. It also applies to the Goetia, the spirit sigils and whatnot. You don't have to go through the trouble, okay? If you can afford to do stuff like that and you're willing to do something like that, create real fancy Pentacles. For example, a first Pentacle of the Sun that's engraved with gold and everything, then yeah, knock yourself out. But it is going to be expensive as hell to create something in pure gold and to have someone engrave it for you. That's craftsmanship, and that is going to cost a lot. Again, all of that stuff isn't necessary. I managed to create all of this by sheer intent. And again, as you can already see, my drawn images or figures aren't perfect. I was never good at drawing, okay? But I did my best, and that is enough in the end, okay? It doesn't matter whether they look crooked, whether that pentacle is crooked on that pentacle of Mercury. None of it matters, okay? Your intent is important. As long as you do your best and your intent is to